Hey guys, welcome back to more r/idoworkherelady stories. In today's Ripestories video, imagine a customer getting so angry about mobile orders that she decides to personally punish the employee handing them out. She wanted me to stand in line for the rest of the day, but when she did not get her way, things escalated to a point that changed everything. Let's dive right into the video. And the first one is titled, Karen attacks me for grabbing her coffee at Starbucks, claims I'm cutting the line, but I am an employee, posted on r/idoworkherelady. So for context, I work as a barista at a Starbucks in the Philippines. Been doing it for a while now, and most days it is fine. Busy rushes with people wanting their drinks quick and all that, but nothing too wild usually. Customers can be impatient sometimes, but this one took the cake for pure entitlement. It was one of those packed periods where the line for ordering stretched almost out the door, and the pickup counter had a bunch of people hovering waiting for their names to get called. Mobile orders were popping up on the system left and right too, so we were hustling to keep up. I was on the floor that day helping out by grabbing drinks from the bar and handing them off to the right people so the baristas making them could stay focused. You know, the standard stuff. One mobile order cup came up already, so I walked over to the counter, picked it up and turned to call out for the customer who had been standing nearby looking at their phone. Right as I lift the cup, this woman just materializes next to me and grabs onto my wrist pretty hard. Not hard enough to leave a bruise or anything, but enough that I stopped short. She looked like she was in her 40s maybe, dressed in some fancy blues and pants like she came from a big office meeting or something, hair all done up, and this look on her face like I'd personally insulted her whole family, and she says real loud, "Hey, that's my coffee. What do you think you're doing just grabbing it?" I pull my wrist free and carefully say, "Ma'am, this is a mobile order for someone else. Look, the name is right here on the side." She barely glances and goes, "No, it is mine. I ordered coffee ages ago and I've been waiting patiently unlike you. You just walked straight up, took the first cup you saw without standing in line. That is called cutting the line and it's not fair to the rest of us who've been here longer." I kept it professional. "I work here," I tell her. "I am an employee. See the apron and the name tag. This drink is not yours. The person who ordered it is right over there waiting." She looks at my uniform for like half a second, then shakes her head and says, "I don't care what you're wearing. Customers don't get special privileges to jump ahead. You need to get to the back of the line and order properly like everybody else. Hand that over now." I hold the cup out of her reach and say again, "This is not yours." "What exactly did you order? I can check." She huffs and says, "I ordered a coffee, a regular coffee. It should be ready by now. You people are so slow, and now you're letting random people steal drinks. Give it to me." At this point, the real customer who ordered the mobile one steps closer and says, That's actually mine. I ordered it through the app a while back." I hand the cup over to them quickly, and they thank me and then head out. Karen watches this happen with her mouth open, and then she turns back to me looking even more pissed. "That was mine, you just gave away my coffee to some stranger. You're all in on this together. This is theft." I sigh and try to explain for what feels like the 10th time, "Ma'am, that was not your order. Your name was not on it. If you placed an order, it will come up when it's ready. You can wait by the counter like everyone else or check with the barista at the register if you think something is wrong." She plants herself right in front of me, blocking my way a bit. "No, you're gonna fix this. You cut the line, stole my drink. I demand you make me a new one right now for free, and I want you to wait here until every single person who was here before you gets served. It is only fair. Mobile orders are cheating anyway." People like you just waltz in and grab things while the rest of us stand around like fools. I can feel some of the other customers starting to stare, and a couple even chuckle under their breath. One guy in line mutters something about crazy people today, but I ignore it and I say, "Look," I say as calmly as I can manage, without using any fancy words, "I didn't cut any line. I work here and my job includes handing out the ready orders. If you got a problem with the system, take it up with the manager, but you cannot just grab me and accuse me of stealing." She sneers and says, "Prove that you work here then. Anyone can put on an apron. Maybe you stole that too. I saw you grab that cup like a thief. Wait your turn or I will make a big scene." I point to my name tag again and the store logo on the apron. This is my uniform. I've been on shift for hours. Ask any of my coworkers. But she was not having it. She starts raising her voice more so people further back can hear. "This so-called employee just stole my coffee and is refusing to wait in line. Is this how you treat paying customers? I want the manager right now." One of my coworkers, who was nearby making drinks, looks over with that tired expression we all get during rushes and comes closer. "Everything okay over here?" And then Karen immediately launches into her speech about how I cut the line, grabbed her coffee and gave it away, and how employees should not get special treatment, and how the whole store is unfair to people who order in person. My coworker backs me up immediately though. Coworker says, "She works here, that was a mobile order for another customer. Yours will be out when it's ready. Please step back so we can keep serving people." Karen crosses her arms and refuses to move. "I don't believe any of you. This is just a scam. Mobile orders should not skip people who are actually present. Make my coffee free and make her stand in line for the rest of the day as punishment, or better yet, fire her." I'm getting a bit fed up by now, but still trying to de-escalate. And by the way guys, is it just me, or does OP have the patience of an angel? I would have already flipped out. Let me know in the comments what you would have done in this situation, if you would have stayed as calm as OP, or if you would have punched this Karen already. And by the way, I would really appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much. I said, "Ma'am, no one is getting fired here and no one is standing in line as punishment. Just tell us your order details and we can look it up. If it's taking longer than expected, we can even check the status." She refuses to give clear details at first, just keeps repeating that she ordered coffee and it's been forever and I ruined everything by stealing it, but eventually she mutters something about her name or order number, but when we check the system, nothing matches exactly what she claims or it's still in progress. She accuses us of deleting it on purpose and the manager comes over after hearing the raised voices. Manager asks what the issue is and Karen repeats her whole story even more dramatically this time, claiming I assaulted her by pulling my arm away and that I'm a thief and the store is protecting me because we are all corrupt or something. She demands free drinks for life, an apology from me personally, and that I get written up. Manager listens and then says firmly, "This employee was doing their job. Mobile orders get prepared based on when they come in. No one is cutting anything here. We checked and that cup was not yours. Please wait for your own order or we can remake something if there was a real mix-up, but you need to stop accusing the staff of theft and blocking the counter." Well, sadly, Karen doesn't like that one bit. She starts going on about how the manager is young, doesn't know anything, and how she will report the whole store to corporate, and how in other countries this would never happen, and how Filipinos should know better customer service. It was seriously getting embarrassing for everyone watching. Some customers were filming on their phones quietly and others were just shaking their heads. I try one more time. "Look, if your drink is delayed and we can help, but grabbing me and yelling is not the way. Just move aside so other people can pick up their orders." That seemed to set her off even more. She points at me and says, "You don't get to tell me what to do. You're the problem. Wait in line like a normal person. I don't care if you claim to work here. Employees should use the back or something. This is for customers only." At this point, her actual order finally comes up ready, or maybe it was another similar looking cup. One of the baristas sets a hot coffee down on the counter near us and calls a name that might have been close to whatever she said earlier. Before anyone can react properly, Karen snatches that cup up. She turns to me with this triumphant look and says, "Fine, if you want coffee so bad, here, take it, since you love grabbing things that are not yours." And then she opens the cup and throws it straight at me. Hot coffee goes everywhere. It hits my chest and arm and soaks through my shirt immediately. The heat stings really bad, like really burns for a few seconds, and I jump back yelling out in pain. Coffee drips down onto the floor, making a mess, and some splashes hit nearby customers who scramble away. My coworker rushes over to me asking if I'm okay, while the manager steps between me and Karen. Security from the building we are in comes running because someone must have hit the button or just heard the noise. I'm standing there with hot coffee soaking my clothes and my skin burning under the fabric. It was not like third-degree burns or anything, thank goodness, but it hurt and left a red mark on my arm that stung for a while. Karen, however, just stands there looking proud for a moment like she made some big point, and then her face changes when she realized everyone is staring at her in shock and not supporting her. She starts backpedaling a little. "I didn't mean for it to spill that much. She grabbed me at first, she stole my coffee. This is self-defense or something. You all saw her cutting the line." But no one is buying it. The manager tells her loud and clear, "You just threw hot coffee at an employee. That is assault. You need to leave. We are calling the cops." Karen freaks out properly then. She yells, "This is ridiculous. You cannot kick me out. I'm a customer. I paid for my drink. She's the one who started it by stealing. I will sue all of you. Do you know who I deal with in my job? You will regret this. Get me a free replacement and an apology, and maybe I will not report you." Well, security kept her in her place. She resisted a bit and keeps ranting about unfairness and special treatment for employees and how mobile orders destroy the experience for real people. I'm still dealing with the mess on me though. Co-workers help me wipe down and get a clean spare shirt from the back. Manager has someone take photos of the red mark on my arm and the soaked clothes for records. The burn is not super serious, but we clean it and put some cream on it. I sit for a bit catching my breath while the adrenaline fades. It hits me how insane the whole thing was. 1 minute I'm just doing my job handing out a cup and the next I'm covered in hot coffee because some lady couldn't handle that she was wrong. Afterwards, police arrive pretty quick since the store is in a busy area. The officers come in and the manager explains everything with me and a couple witnesses. I show them the mark and tell them what happened step by step from her grabbing my wrist to the accusations to the throw. Karen is outside with security still arguing and trying to claim it was an accident or that I provoked her by not waiting in line. The officers listen to her version, then to ours and look at the evidence. They ask me if I want to press charges and I think about it for a second. Part of me just wants to go home and forget it, but the burn still hurts and she threw hot liquid at me on purpose in front of everyone. So I say yes, I want to press charges for assault. The officers nod and place her under arrest. She starts shouting again about how this is a setup and how she will get a lawyer and how the store is discriminating against her for some made-up reason. They handcuff her carefully and walk her out to the vehicle while she demands to speak to someone higher up and insists the coffee was hers all along. Later, I followed up on the charges as needed. The police handled the report and she got processed for assault. I didn't have to deal with much beyond giving my statement and the store provided the witness accounts and photos. She got banned from the store permanently, of course, and from what I heard, she faced legal consequences. No more coming back to harass staff, and the physical part healed fine by the way, just some temporary redness and I was careful with long sleeves for a bit. Mentally though, it was just more the shock of how fast it escalated. And yeah guys, I gotta say, mobile ordering has seriously broken some people's brains. They see a person walk in, grab a drink and then immediately assume that person skipped the line, instead of understanding that the line started on someone's phone like 10 minutes earlier. It's the same energy as getting mad at a self-out checkout machine because it didn't personally respect your seniority or something. And funnily enough, a couple of days ago in the city where I live in northern Thailand, there was an incident where a Chinese tourist, I think he ordered a burger at a street food stand, and that street food stand also has mobile orders, and after he ordered, the woman at the street food stand made a burger for a mobile order first. And then he thought that she skipped his line or something, like skipped his queue. And after he got his burger, he totally freaked out. He threw the burger on the ground and then trampled on it. I'm not sure exactly what he wanted to do with that, but yeah, absolutely crazy person, and I wish they would have arrested him or something because I felt so bad for the staff, and the staff, they also looked like super young. So yeah, that's definitely a nightmare customer if you ask me. Oh well, maybe arrested would be the wrong thing to do, but at least he should get reprimanded or something for screaming at the staff and acting like a total toxic idiot in public. Either way, the first comment on Reddit said, "You were literally doing your job. You had a uniform, a name tag, coworkers backing you up, and the actual mobile order customer confirming it was theirs, and this woman still decided she was the victim of some kind of international Starbucks conspiracy. The second she grabbed your wrist, she was already in the wrong. Everything after that was just her doubling down because admitting, oops, I was mistaken, was apparently harder for her than accusing an entire coffee shop of organized drink theft." Another user in the comments said, 6 months from now, she's at a dinner party, retelling this story, and somehow, by the end of it, she is the brave whistleblower who exposed a corrupt mobile ordering ring and its apron-stealing employee, and then 2 of her friends are nodding seriously and saying, "That is so wrong, you should write a review." That's exactly what's gonna happen. And the next one is another malicious compliance story, which is titled, "You want the price I told you the first time? Done." So for context, I work at a family-owned video game store in a big shopping strip at the beach. We are 80% retro stuff, but we always take modern games and consoles because they move quick, especially these days. So yeah, I'm working my Tuesday opening shift, going as slow as weekday mornings usually do, when one of my favorite regulars, an old gentleman that loves talking movies with me, and a woman who I'll be referring to as Country Karen due to her accent, comes into the store within a minute or so of each other. I say hi to the regular, Country Karen come to the counter, and I tell him I'll be back once I'm done. Regular goes to check out our Blu-ray trades from the weekend, and Country Karen starts to explain she bought 2 Switch lights for her nephews, not realizing they already had a regular Switch in the house, says the kids lost a receipt, entirely her own fault for giving it to the kids, so she cannot return it and wants to know what I can do for a cash trade-in. She seems a little frazzled, but I chalk it up to stress and annoyance at her situation, but since she explains she just came in from being told no at Target, I take the Switch Lite and take it out of the box. It is about as factory new as it gets, with only a small tear in the box and a few kid-sized fingerprints on the screen I can wipe off, and she says she just wants as much money back as she can at this point, and I pull up the trade sheet to double-check our trade rates, and a Switch Lite retails for $200. So we normally sell used ones at $180 a pop and give $100 store credit or $80 cash. Since the Switch Lite is basically factory new with the box, I decide to give her a bit of a deal. Normally Switch Lites only trade in for $80 cash, but I can actually do $110 for this because it's a popular color and in really good condition with a box. KK: What? That is so low. GameStop has a promotion and will give me $140 for it. Can't you do any better? Normally we try to beat GameStop's everything by at least 15%, but being corporate with more employees and less stock per store, they can get specials and promotions done that we simply can't. Plus we can only match them on trade value for newer consoles due to the little profit that we turn taking them at GameStop prices. I explain this to Country Karen and she goes from frazzled and a little bit impatient to, well, a Country Karen: KK, wow, I thought you guys would be better than GameStop since you're a small business, but if you're gonna nick and dime me, I'll just go to them from now on. I audibly scoff at the woman's rudeness and tell her good luck. Perk of working family owned, I don't have to lie down and take crappy behavior. She gives me a nasty look, takes her Switch Lite back, and leaves the store. There's a couple in line behind her with a bag or 2 of game trades each by this point, so once she is gone I start helping them. Regular brings up a few of our movie trades, all 4 of us start talking movies while I get the games done. Mornings on weekdays usually aren't too bad, but for some reason I had a huge line of nothing but boxes of trade-ins per person come in while I was helping the first 2 guys out, and I was the only employee in the store that day. I finished the second person's trade and excused myself from the movie talk to focus on powering through the new line of people. I'm about halfway done with the second box of absolute goldmine titles, SNES and Nintendo 64 games, when KK returns looking very unhappy. I put on my best customer service smile and say, "Welcome back." She ignores me, cuts past the rest of the line and says, "I need to trade this in now. I gotta pick my nephews up from daycare and I need the gas money. GameStop said their promotion is over." Sorry to hear that, but I've got other customers I'm helping right now. You'll have to get in line. KK: I said I need to trade this now. They are out soon and all this running around is gonna make me late as it is. I look at gentleman I'm helping, who shrugs and says he doesn't mind, then at the 4 other people waiting in line with boxes or bags of trades in hand, patiently waiting their turns. The next person in line is watching and giving Country Karen the audacity of this Karen, face I've ever seen. Since it is one item and normally only takes 1 minute, I tell Country Karen fine, I will ring her through quick. I suspend the current trade, take the light, double check it, then add it into the system and ask KK for her ID, which she loudly sighs about, and takes a minute digging through her purse to find it. Next guy in line definitely is not happy with her attitude, makes a comment to the woman he's with that Country Karen and I cannot make out. Karen finally finds her ID and hands it over, and I enter her info into our customer database, up the trade of the Switch Lite to $110 and tell her the total. Much to my surprise, she balks as if I've just pissed in her morning macchiato and indignantly states, "KK, you told me $139.99 earlier. I want the money you said I would get the first time I came in here." No ma'am, I said $110 because it's… No, you told me $139.99. I want the money you said I would get the first time, or there's gonna be an issue. Well, that is BS, since every single trade in our store rounds to a whole dollar amount, but KK keeps insisting I told her what I'm assuming was the GameStop promotional trade-in price. So, at this point, both I and the next guy in line are done with Country Karen. He loudly sighs and says, "Come on, man." But Country Karen either cannot hear him or does not care. I, on the other hand, give Country Karen another winning service smile. "Sure, your trade will be $80 cash then." I can see the few brain cells left in Country Karen's wino head trying to process how the value has gone down instead of up, and KK that is less. I want the money. At this point she's yelling in the store, so I use my 8+ years of singing bass in church chorus to talk over her without sounding like I'm yelling back. Me, I told you normally switch lights trade for like $80 cash, but that I would cut you a deal for $110. If you want the amount I told you the first time, that is $80. My regular and one of the first 2 trades are still near the till, and they both pipe up to support me and say I did in fact give her those numbers. Country Karen, red in the face and realizing her mistake, starts to backpedal. KK, God, fine, just give me the 110 so I can leave already. Me, no ma'am, you were very firm about wanting the first amount, so it'll be $80 cash for the trade. Country Karen looked like she's about to explode before she checks the time on her phone and deflates. Okay, just give me the damn money. Me, absolutely. I ring out the transaction for $80, make her sign the receipt saying she agrees to the trade, then loudly count out $80 cash and 20s for her, which she snatches off the counter and storms out the store with, while the next guy in line is bent over the box of games in his arms, laughing his butt off. And the next one is a petty revenge story, which is titled, I force Wells Fargo to mail me a statement that will always be zero. So I saw a story earlier today, and it reminded me what I did to Wells Fargo a few years ago. So for context, my dad worked for Wells Fargo for over 20 years on the call center side. He managed a team that forecasted call volume for all call centers Wells Fargo had, and they had trouble staffing overnight with Americans, so they opened a call center in the Philippines. Their day shift is our night shift. Perfect, right? Well, that was until Wells Fargo did what they do best and they got greedy. They wanted to maximize their profits, so they slowly started closing down American offices and opening new ones in the Philippines. My dad warned them over and over again that if they continued this practice, they were gonna have scheduling issues, and shockingly enough, they ignored his warnings. So he ended up being right and Wells Fargo ran into huge staffing issues. What was his reward for being right though? He was laid off. I was so mad at them, I cancelled all my accounts except my credit card. The reason I didn't cancel my credit card is because it's my oldest line of credit and I didn't want my credit score to be impacted by this. I went online and made sure any recurring charge and subscriptions were on my new account at a local credit union. While I was online, I also switched statements delivery from e-delivery to mail delivery, and Wells Fargo now pays to send me a monthly statement for a credit card I never use. It's been almost 2 years now. Screw you, Wells Fargo. And yeah guys, thanks for watching, I will see you again tomorrow.